Welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, today we're cracking open Chapter 6 of S.E. Hinton's absolute classic, The Outsiders. We are going to unpack what is arguably one of the most fascinating, complex relationships in modern literature. Whether you're reading this for the very first time or you're coming back to it, you know this book is just packed with intense dynamics. But today, we're zeroing in entirely on Dallas Winston and Johnny Cade to discover exactly how this one chapter changes absolutely everything for them. Okay, let's dive into this, because this really is the central mystery of their unexpected dynamic. I mean, on paper, these two shouldn't make sense at all, right? You've got Dally, who has a rap sheet a mile long and actively hates the world, and then you have Johnny, the gang's pet, who literally jumps at his own shadow. Yet, Dally protects Johnny fiercely, and Johnny idolizes Dally completely. So why? What binds them together so tightly? Well, to understand what happens at the end of this chapter, we first got to understand where they begin.
Part 1. Sensitive versus hardened.
So, to establish the baseline differences between our two boys before everything quite literally goes up in flames, let's look at this clear juxtaposition. On one hand, we have Johnny. Hinton describes him as having a lost puppy look. He's quiet, he's deeply sensitive, he takes things to heart, and he's just so easily hurt by the world around him. But then, look at the stark contrast with Dally. Dally is cold, he's hard, he is mean, he operates on pure, fast, ruthless survival instinct. The guy grew up on the streets of New York, he's been in jail since he was 10, and he doesn't care about anyone. Except, as we'll see, Johnny.
And this right here perfectly captures why. Dally casually throws out this line while they're driving. Shoot, my old man don't give a hang whether I'm in jail or dead in a car wreck or drunk in the gutter. That don't bother me none. And the thing is, Dally means it. He's built this massive emotional fortress. But Johnny hears this and he is visibly crushed, just staring at the dashboard with this hurt bewilderment. See, Johnny's parents abuse and ignore him too, but unlike Dally, it completely destroys him. This shared trauma of parental neglect is the absolute anchor of their bond. It's exactly why the whole gang, but especially Dally, steps up to act as Johnny's protective big brothers. Part 2. A protective brotherhood. Now, on the ride back from the Dairy Queen, this brotherhood is really put to the test. After quietly putting away 5 barbecue sandwiches, Johnny makes this surprisingly brave declaration. We're going back and turn ourselves in. And he doesn't yell it. Hinton specifically notes that he says it in a quiet voice. And man, this quiet declaration completely jolts Dallas. Remember, Johnny is terrified of the police. He gets these big, scared eyes just thinking about them. But he's willing to face them anyway because he thinks it's totally unfair to keep Ponyboy away from his brothers. Part 3. The threat of jail.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the incredible character work S.E. Hinton is doing here. Ponyboy notes that Dally speaks in a pleading, high voice, a tone he has never, ever heard from him before. Dally isn't angry, he isn't barking orders like usual, he's begging. The toughest guy in town is practically pleading with Johnny to reconsider, absolutely terrified of what the justice system is going to do to him. And right here is the core of it. Listen to Dally's warning. You get hardened in jail. Hardened. Dally pushes his white blonde hair back and says, I don't want that to happen to you, like it happened to me. Dally knows exactly what it costs to survive on the inside. You lose your soul, you lose your sensitivity, you get hardened. Dally's ultimate, desperate fear is Johnny losing his innocence and turning into him. He protects Johnny because Johnny represents the one piece of pure, unhardened humanity Dally has left in his life.
Part 4. Crisis at the church.
So, Dally's desperate attempt to keep Johnny safe is instantly interrupted when they arrive back at Jay Mountain, only to find the church on fire. The situation escalates in literally seconds. There's a school picnic. Grown-ups are just standing around confused. And then, faintly, they hear yelling. Missing children are trapped inside the burning building. Without even hesitating, Ponyboy and Johnny rush the flaming door, smash a window, and pull themselves in. Meanwhile, Dally, the tough guy, the hardened criminal we were just talking about, is left outside screaming at them to get out, yelling that the roof is going to cave in. The chaos is absolutely total. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer terror of the scene. The text describes cinders and embers falling, stinging them like ants. Ponyboy realizes exactly what it's like to be inside a burning ember. He literally calls it a red hell. The roar and the crackling of the flames are deafening. It's a highly dangerous, deadly environment, with pieces of the old roof actually crashing down around them while they try to frantically locate these terrified, screaming little kids. But in the middle of this red hell, we get this incredible role reversal. Just look at Johnny Cade, the nervous, beaten-down kid, taking complete charge. He yells at the kids to shut up and guides them out. He's fearless. He's grinning. Conversely, Dally Winston, the street tough leader, is completely reduced to a frantic, terrified bystander, helpless on the outside, screaming for them to forget the kids and just save themselves. In the face of a true crisis, their outward personas completely strip away, revealing who they really are underneath it all. Ponyboy actually observes this about Johnny right in the middle of dropping kids out the window. He says that was the only time I can think of when I saw him without that defeated, suspicious look in his eyes. For the very first time in his life, Johnny isn't a victim. He has this sudden burst of pure, undeniable purpose. Saving those kids gave him a reason to exist, and despite the flames and the choking smoke, he looked like he was honestly having the time of his life.
Part 5. The Turning Point.
But, as we know, heroes rarely escape without a cost. The rescue quickly ends in violence. Ponyboy leaps from the window and his jacket catches fire. Dally instantly clubs him across the back as hard as he can to extinguish the flames, knocking Ponyboy into a peaceful darkness. Then Dally hears Johnny scream as the timber crashes down. Without a second thought, Dally dives straight into the collapsing, burning building to drag Johnny out. Beneath that hardened, I don't care about anything shell, Dally's instinct to protect Johnny completely overrides his own self-preservation. Hours later, Ponyboy wakes up in an ambulance, trying to piece together the devastation.
So the crucial point is how the outside world now views them. The teacher riding in the ambulance, Jerry Wood, says, "I swear, you three are the bravest kids I've seen in a long time. Mrs. O'Brien and I think you were sent straight from heaven." It is incredibly ironic, isn't it? These boys are labeled by society as hoods, as juvenile delinquents. Johnny is actively wanted for murder, and Dally has a massive police record. Yet right here, in this moment, the town views these marginalized greasers as literal heroes sent from above.
But the physical and emotional toll of all this is incredibly heavy. Dally suffered bad burns on his arm trying to drag Johnny out, and Johnny took the brunt of the crashing timber right across his back. He's facing severe burns and a potentially broken back. He's unconscious, pale, and sick-looking as they wheel him into the hospital. The dynamic between them, and really their place in the whole world, is forever altered by the tragic events that unfolded on Jay Mountain. Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought. Johnny found a moment of pure purpose and heroism, but it may end up costing him absolutely everything. Dally tried so hard to protect Johnny from being hardened by jail, only to watch him get crushed by a burning church. So, was saving those children worth the cost of their innocence? It's a really heavy question, and it's one you're definitely going to have to keep in mind as you read on to see what awaits these boys in the hospital. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring the incredible depths of this book.